For generations, the worst among us have contrived to tear our political and social fabric apart to the benefit of the few over the many. Their intent and mission have been diabolically simple: divide and conquer, and they have been wildly successful. Hi, I'm Michael James Ott, veteran, retired engineer and businessman, and now ambassador and facilitator for the solution to this madness: Citizen Statesmanship. The vast majority of people from all corners of the globe are just like you and me. Extraordinary, so-called ordinary people. Join us in our quest to recreate the political landscape, eliminating the tribal hostilities and warfare incited for centuries by the label and blame mantra of our traditional leaders. Now is the time to end the atrocities of god-awful leadership, launching a final and lasting divorce from tyranny. It's the Pro and Con Show, brought to you today and every day by Citizen Statesmanship, the cure for what ails us. Hey out there, welcome to the Pro and Con Show. I'm Michael James Ott.
And I'm David Smith, and we are the co-hosts for this show.
Indubitably. That's an easy word to say. But anyway, who we are is much less important than what we are going to talk about today. We have very important topics we talk about on this show on a regular basis, but this is an awesome show. And today's show is You Matter Now More Than Ever.
I think that's an excellent topic for today.
You matter more. So you're watching this or listening to this, you matter more now than ever. So David, let's talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you feeling these days about our country's situation? How are you feeling? Talk about that for a couple of minutes.
Well, let's see. A lot of angst.
A lot of angst?
Anxiety. Overwhelmed.
Are you feeling overwhelmed?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, just turn on the media every day. You're overwhelmed. What's right? What's wrong? What's good news? What's bad news?
There's a ton of news out there, and most of it's bad.
But yeah, I mean, where's the good sections? You know? I think we need more good segments of good news, you know? Overwhelmed. I mean, I'm kind of at the age where retirement's coming up in probably 4 years, hoping 4 years.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of angst there. I mean, I've saved money and things like that. I have a mortgage, but, my house is valued pretty well. But even then, it's like, where are we going? Where are we going? Are we going to be able to afford?
Feels like there's a lot of uncertainty at the moment.
Exactly.
At least to me, it feels that way.
Yeah, exactly. I just think it's just diabolical, everything you see on the news. There's such rhetoric about everything that's going on. This party's bad, that party's bad, back and forth. It's just constant bickering. Nothing ever gets done. And people are sick of it. I'm sick of it. My family's sick of it. Doesn't matter what party you're in. I think everybody's sick of it. It's like, okay, are we going to finally sit down and have a constructive conversation of what's really going on in this country? Because if we don't take it by the reins now, we are going off that cliff we've talked about.
Right. And that's, by the way, here, that we at the Citizen Statesmanship team here, this is exactly what we're trying to do with these podcasts. Mm-hmm. We're trying to have those reasonable conversations about where we've been, where we are, and where we're going.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest problem today in politics is they don't want to compromise. We're right, you're wrong. You're right, we're wrong. There's always got to be compromise. That's how the citizen statesmanship is kind of set up. You have to have a common ground. Everybody has to come to some kind of a resolution. It's not a perfect resolution, but it's a resolution that we all agree on. And we've all made that commitment to say, okay, it's not perfect, but this is what we came to, instead of this rhetoric back and forth about.
Right. This is the thing about a democracy, or in our case, a democratic republic. It's never perfect.
And it was never meant to be perfect.
Well, I mean, the intent is hopefully someday it would be perfect, but it's never going to be perfect because there's a bunch of humans and we're not perfect.
Exactly.
But for sure, step by step, we can try to make it better. And I would argue, and I think a lot of people would argue, that if you look over the last, 100 years or something, or 200 years, and again, we're called the Pro and Con Show for a reason, but there's been, more good things than bad in general over the last 100 years.
Sure.
But things are turning toward much.
The percentages are changing.
It's
getting worse than it is better.
Exactly. Now it's changed. It's getting worse on the whole than better. It's our lives are becoming more malignant than benign. It's not headed in a good direction. And I hear, and like you're saying, like you hear it from your family members and your neighbors and co-workers and stuff. I hear it, of course, too. And if you're watching or listening, you hear it too. And we the struggle that we humans have is, and in one of the programs we talk about who are they, because we'll say things like, well, they never get things done, or they are always blaming things.
Who are they?
Or yes.
They are us.
Well, yes, in that the fact that we extraordinary ordinary people have allowed the very worst among us to lead us, and those are the theys that don't resolve things like the national deficit and stuff like that, and on and on and on. So we get into this. So we have this term NARSOLES, narcissistic sociopathic a-holes.
So let's talk about those people.
Okay.
NARSOLES, that's a great
NARSOLES.
topic.
So we, I hold this up. This is a list because I don't want to. If you want, you can pause or whatever. Well, actually, I have to read through them because this is an audio thing too.
I can read some things for them. Narcissistic traits.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and read through it.
The traits are sense of self-importance, preoccupation with power, beauty, or success. Entitled is a big one. Yeah. Can only be around people who are important or special. Yeah. You see that every day. Interpersonally exploitive of their own gain. You see that every day. Yeah. Arrogant, lack of empathy, must be admired, envious of others, or others are envious of them. Yeah. And you can go over the sociopathic.
So the sociopathic traits are they lack empathy and remorse. So these people, and you see it again in the worst among us, they don't have any remorse. And they're manipulating, deceitful, impulsive and irresponsible, aggressive and violent. They have a huge disregard for rules and laws. They have superficial charm. This is the thing, and this is one of the aspects of them, and why they've been able to manipulate us, is they have a charm. And we, the extraordinary ordinary people, we don't deal with them very well because we're straightforward, right? We talk to each other and we're generally pretty darn honest and fair-minded and stuff with each other on the whole. But these NARSOLES, they literally charm us, and this is the whole thing. And again, they lie to us, right? They're wanting to get elected, so they go on the campaign trail. Oh, David, you have a concern about the national deficit. Well, if you elect me, I will take care of that for you, David.
That sounds charming.
That's charming. And or you're worried about your job. Where do you work? Oh, you work in the printing industry. David, if you elect me, I'll make sure that we have 5 times the number of jobs in your industry than we do today. Would that sound good to you, David?
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. But then they lie, and that's all. And again, we talk about the politics and people sitting there with a beer or a cup of coffee or whatever. And this is exactly, they constantly lie to us, and they do. It's because they are the worst among us. They are the NARSOLES.
They feel superior, self-consumed,
and they're pathological
liars.
And we talked about this. We talked about this in another program. The one guy, George Santos. Do you remember George Santos?
Oh yeah.
From a few years ago.
Yeah, he was.
He was.
He didn't even have a degree in anything, did he?
Well, I don't. I honestly, he lied so much. I don't remember.
You don't even know what lies were true.
I don't remember. It was just. It was just unbelievable. And I don't even remember. He was either from Massachusetts or
New York, I think.
Or New York State. Yeah, maybe. Okay, maybe it was. It was up there in the Northeast somewhere. And
pathological liar.
Oh my goodness, he is the poster child for pathological liar. Unbelievable, all the stuff he claimed. I was the captain of a volleyball team that didn't exist, and stuff like that. I mean,
who cares? It's volleyball.
I know, but he just lied about everything. And then the press would get in front of him and say, hey, here's photos of you, or here's videos of you, and we have, sworn affidavits from, 5 of your former roommates or whatever that
you never did this.
And he's like, oh, that's all fake news,
Yeah.
And then he would make up even more lies.
Superficial charm.
Just constantly, he did nothing but lie.
And what do you think he cared nothing about the people?
Oh, of course not.
He cared about pocketing. He was out buying cars with the money that he got from his campaign.
He did all kinds of stuff.
But most of those people are NARSOLES. That's what we have to deal with. That's what we have right now.
That's why we have
to look past the superficial charm and just say, hey, enough is enough. I mean, do you really want these people in our government? That's what we have.
That's what we have. And it's because especially the more powerful the positions, like all the positions on a national level, the gauntlet to try to get there is unbelievable. Mm-hmm. The amount of money you have to raise, and all the people that you, and so Ben and I were talking about this, and it's like, well, you have to get lower than low. You have to make all kinds of promises that you can't keep.
I call it selling your soul.
And yes, you have to sell your soul. And you and I and the vast majority of us ordinary people, we don't want to have anything to do with it. So the last people standing are the NARSOLES. They're the only ones that have such a desire for the power and the glamour and the.
So those are the people that were elected.
So those
are the ones that are they're the last ones standing. They're the ones that, okay, this is our choice. NARSOLE 1, NARSOLE 2.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
This is where Citizen Statesman.
This is where we can, reverse this. We can do something actually pretty radically different relative to what has happened over centuries, really, amongst humans. I mean, whether we had these horrible elected officials and some of them, even if they ended up being dictators, they were originally came through political parties. For example, Hitler.
Sure.
Hitler eventually became the Führer, the dictator of Nazi Germany, but he rose up through some political parties and eventually, got elected. And then once he did, he consolidated his power. And
there's a lot of similarities to what's going on now because everybody was disenfranchised then too. Mm-hmm. If you remember, he wasn't elected the first time into the Socialist Party or whatever the party he was running for. Spent time in jail, got out, regrouped. The country was going through massive.
Yes, they had terrible depression and starvation.
And he sounded like the savior of all.
And he made a bunch of promises. And of course they were lies.
NARSOLE there ever was.
Maybe. They were There's been a lot of NARSOLES. We'd
Yeah.
have to talk. Maybe there should be a show about who's
the worst?
Who should win
The top 10 NARSOLES.
Who should win the award for worst NARSOLE?
That's another day. We need to deal with what we got now.
But so our political parties are led completely by NARSOLES, and that's all they do is argue back and forth. And so if you watch one of these congressional hearings about whatever the topic, like I watched one on immigration a few days ago on February 10th. And as we were talking before the show, you got Republicans and Democrats, and they each get 5-minute slots, and they spend, 3 minutes talking about how wonderful the Republican Party is and how the leadership of the Republican Party is the best thing in the world, and everyone's the second coming of Jesus Christ, and da 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 da. And then they spend the second half of their 5 minutes talking about how the Democratic Party is, spawn of the devil, and it's caused all these problems, and everyone's going to die if they are ever elected again, da 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 da. And then 5 minutes later, the Democrats get a chance, and they talk about how wonderful the Democrats are, da da da, and it just goes back and forth and back and forth.
And nothing ever gets accomplished.
There's no intent. Their intent.
No.
Their intent, folks, ladies and gentlemen, their intent is to keep us fighting. That is, they want tribal warfare.
Well, what they want is they want two parties. Democratic, Republican. They want people on two different sides. It doesn't have to be that way.
No.
There's always going to be two sides, but there's also has to be a consensus on both sides.
Well, there doesn't, no, I'm going to argue with you on that.
That's the pro and con.
There does not have to be two sides. A lot of those two sides, that's all driven by the fact we have two political parties who have told us, and this is the thing, we're just so used to this stuff that we even say stuff like there's always two sides. No, there's a problem.
Yeah, that wasn't exactly how I didn't word it correctly.
No, but I just, because, no, you worded it just fine. We want to point this out. There are not two sides. There's a problem. Okay, in the case of immigration, there's a problem. We have a bunch of people coming to our southern border, and we need to control what's going on there. That's the problem. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And then, okay, now you can say, well, what's the best way to do that? But that's not sides to that. It's just, what's the best way? And so, I don't know if I have participated many times in like brainstorming sessions to try to resolve a problem.
Sure.
And there's not one side of the table and the other side, and it's a competition to see who's going to win, who's going to get the best idea first. It's a discussion about how do you solve and resolve this problem.
It's a collaborative idea.
It's a collaborative thing. And anyway, so back to the congressional hearings, none of that. There's no attempt whatsoever to make things better. It's all about keeping the tribes fighting, because while the tribes are fighting, we're distracted. The EOP, the Extraordinary Ordinary People, we're distracted, and they, on all sides, okay, they are picking our pockets and enjoying how they're, screwing us over, and they're the puppeteers, and they are having great fun at our expense.
Yes,
they are having great fun. And then billionaires own the media. And so, ever since, I guess, I think it's kind of like CNN when it first launched, Ted Turner tried to make money on news. So the cable news network. And I remember it because when it started, they had a thing called headline news. And I loved it because it was the news. And it was every 30 minutes. And they changed the stories a little bit as the day progressed. But you could walk in, get home from work, and it's 6:15. You turn on headline news, you watch until 6:45, and you've seen...
It updated the headline news.
You've seen all the news, and you don't need to watch for another half hour because they're just going to repeat it again, plus or minus. So it was really effective, and the news is the news, which is what, how, if you know.
What, when,
how,
where. Yeah,
it's
five whys.
It's just the news.
Yeah.
But CNN is now the cable opinion network, the con network, and Fox Cable News, They're not news. They're the Foxconn network, the Fox Cable Opinion Network. It's opinion. Every time, and folks, again, this is a subtlety which you may not have appreciated, or maybe you do. And if you have, good on you. But most of us do not appreciate. You're watching this and it's splashed all over the screen. News. It's a news program. But yet they say, well, this happened. They spend 30 seconds. They show you a little snippet of a video, and this happened today in Washington, D.C. And then they turn to a panel of 5 people. Well, what do you think this means for the election? That's opinion.
Yeah.
And it's
one of the problems I see too is it's always a little snippet.
Right.
And
exactly.
There's so many different parts of that snippet that might be missing. You're not getting the true news. You're not getting the real news.
It's out of context.
And social media skews everything so much that, like you were saying, CNN back in the day, headline news. Yeah, this is real news. I can remember when 9/11 happened. Remember that?
Yeah.
That's before real social media and phones and all that. You watch that, you were glued to the TV. It's like, oh my gosh, this is actually happening.
And this is happening.
Yeah.
But they didn't talk about, well, how's this going to affect the election next year?
Exactly.
But they started to shortly thereafter.
But everything's skewed. I mean, you can't even tell what news is right and what's not right. And with AI, it's like, my gosh, it's funny. You can go on your phone and look at, YouTube videos of AI of whoever,
right.
Trump, Obama, whatever.
Right. Yes.
And it's like, is that even real? So you don't know what's real.
But the thing is, and the thing that is real is the who, what, where stuff.
Yeah, they don't.
But they barely report it anymore, and they always report it out of context. Anyway, the whole point being that what you're watching and a lot of the stuff that you're getting to, it's intentionally trying to manipulate you.
Yeah.
To get you furious.
Here's a good example. A couple days ago, there was a plane wreck or something. 6 people died. Or no, it said plane wrecks, nobody's died. I'm sitting there thinking, okay, this plane was on fire. How can nobody die? 2 hours later, everybody's dead. It's like, well, this isn't, you guys are reporting stuff that isn't even happened yet. You don't even have the correct reporting.
Yeah.
So it's just
horrible. They're really terrible. I remember it's like a year or 2 ago now, and a big freighter hit a bridge and knocked the bridge
in
down.
In
Baltimore.
Yeah.
And within seconds of that event happening, there was already a bunch of fake stuff. Literally, they had people had made like, oh, here's fighter planes, launching missiles into the bridge.
Something's happening.
This was a terrorist attack, and I mean it was like within seconds.
There was another one that
said
a bunch of Mexican immigrants were killed on the bridge, which a couple of them did end up dying, but they were blaming the immigrants on the bridge. I'm like, no, the shipping container hit the bridge. It's ridiculous.
So, and then, so this is what's going on with our political parties. They're trying to drive us. Well, they have been for years, but they continue. And then the billionaires own the media, and they have their agenda, and they are perfectly happy to mislead you in any way possible as long as they can get a buck out of it. And then the national debt is spiraling out of control. We talked about how NARSOLES are completely irresponsible. And so this has been going on for many, many, many administrations. It's been going on for 3 or 4 decades now. And it's because the people that we are electing, are totally irresponsible. They have no interest in solving this.
No.
And then we talked about in the previous show how artificial intelligence is coming. And this is going to be a massive change in how everything works. The whole paradigm is going to shift, and we have to figure out how we're going to do this. And we are completely unprepared. And so then you and us here at the Citizen Statesmanship team, we're all feeling the same angst and fear and uncertainty and anger and sadness and an inclination towards apathy.
But I think now's the time. We need to do something now, people.
We have to do something now. We can't let the NARSOLES win. David, we can't let them win. I apologize to you. I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant here.
Michael's going to do his
I'm a very
4-minute cure speech.
I'm really, this really has me upset. You know, for generations, the worst among us have contrived to tear our social and political fabric apart, to benefit the few, them, over the many, us. And their intent and mission have been diabolically simple: divide and conquer. And they have been wildly successful. Wildly successful. So, I'm Michael James Ott, you're David Smith, and we are ambassadors and facilitators for the solution to this madness. It's called citizen statesmanship. The vast majority of people on all corners of the globe are just like you and me. They're extraordinary, ordinary people. Join us, all of us, in recreating the political landscape.
It's okay.
Recreating the political landscape, finally ending the atrocities of god-awful leadership, and launching a final divorce from tyranny. All driven by everyday citizens, driven by you and I. Take our hands, walk with us to a far brighter tomorrow, free of hate, fear, and injustice. There's a saying in our country, and I'm sure this is parallel to many others: you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Well, when it comes to fair, effective, efficient governance of, by, and for the people, citizen statesmanship is the water. Cool, pure, refreshing, and thirst-quenching. But the question is, when will you drink of it? Just how thirsty must you be? How much warfare, pestilence, famine, poverty, misuse, and abuse must you suffer at the hands of the worst of us before you finally have had enough? You're parched and ready to walk through fire to get to and drink from the eternal fount of freedom, equality, and fairness that is citizen statesmanship. Citizen statesmanship. Serving in government should be like jury duty. We should be serving. I say again, serving in an office in our government should be like jury duty. We, the extraordinary, ordinary people, not the NARSOLES, we can, must, and shall lead ourselves. We must be citizen statesmen. Mm-hmm. We must be citizen statesmen. Reverend King had a dream. Barack Obama inspired many to have hope, hope, hope. These days, as we've just been talking about, I hear people all the time praying, hoping, hoping, hoping for a better tomorrow. One of my brothers once said to me very wisely, hope in one hand, poop in the other. See which hand fills up first. Citizen statesmanship is not a dream. It is not a hope. It is the solution. It is the freaking solution. It is the cure for what ails us. It is the antibiotic for our infection. It is the perfectly tailored chemotherapy for our cancer. It is the wonderfully effective vaccinations against smallpox and polio. It is the magic pill.
Measles.
Measles. It is the magic pill that will cure what has ailed human society for centuries. Folks, whether you're watching or listening, take it. Take it. Dark days are coming. Very, very, very dark days are coming. Unless we act. It's as if we're all in the same huge bus. And we're hurtling toward the cliff. And the people behind the wheel are the worst people you can possibly imagine. because they are. They are the worst people that exist. They don't care whether the bus goes off the cliff. They only care that they have hold of the wheel. And we, you and I, we must act. We must take hold of the wheel and turn the damn bus. We've got to turn the bus. And so we've talked in today's show, you out there are more important than ever. You're more important than ever because you've got to reach out and turn the bus. We were talking earlier about an analogy. You want to move mountains? There's over 300 million people in this country. Hand everybody a shovel, we'll move a mountain. Today's, let's say today's Tuesday. You want to move it by Thursday? We got it.
300 million people can do it. We can't do it alone.
We cannot, but if you throw the 300 million shovels at me or David or any other single person, they're not going to get anywhere.
Now we're going off the cliff.
We've got, so we can't just vote. We've got to do more. Not a whole lot more. We're not talking about, going to war. We're not saying that you have to get out there with hand grenades or mortars or guns or anything like that. But you do have to pay attention to what's happening and recognize how badly these people have been treating you and that there is a solution. And that solution is for us, which are we, the extraordinary, ordinary people, are definitely way different than them. We need to take control.
Yes, we do.
We need to take control. So I feel like I've spit that out.
That was a 4-minute cure. I don't know. That might have been a little longer.
I don't know. Might have been longer than
That's
4
okay.
minutes.
I love your passion, though. I mean, that's what this is all about, everybody. Here's a guy that I met, 4 months ago?
Yeah.
And we were kind of doing some political party stuff in a totally different direction. And we were like, this isn't happening either. This isn't working. So the passion I see from Michael is something that's driving me and a few others, but we need more people to see the facts of what's really going on.
Yeah. No, it's I have been talking about this for a while, but as things continue to get worse, people are paying more and more attention. And this is, by the way, it's completely human. It's a normal thing. And, your first reaction to some of the things that we're saying in some of these podcasts,
these guys are crazy.
What are they thinking? We can't possibly do this or whatever. But the reality is, I can guarantee you, okay, citizen statesmanship is out of the bag. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. The question is just how much warfare, pestilence, famine, poverty, misuse, and abuse will we allow to happen to us before we finally say we've had enough. It's really up to us. We have to say we've had enough, and then all we have to do then is just take some steps together. Mm-hmm. And they're not huge steps. I use the analogy of moving the mountain with a shovel. Most of us would only have to
just one shovel.
Just a couple, just a few shovelfuls, and that's all you need to do. It's the same thing. How thirsty do you need to be? Well, if you get thirsty enough, you will pick up a bucket and go down to the creek and fetch some water. And because if you don't, you're going to die.
Yep.
And so let's recognize this. Whether you want to use the analogy of a shovel or a bucket full of water, but let's pick up the utensil of your choice and start doing a few things here to support a far brighter future free of hate, fear, and injustice. So as we wind down the show, we attest that we are here for you. The extraordinary, ordinary people. We have coined the term EOP.
EOP.
So not the DEMs, not the Dems, not the GOP.
The GOP.
The grand old party. We are the EOP, the extraordinary, ordinary people. And we here on the show, we're volunteers, facilitators for a better tomorrow. And when you help us, you will also be volunteers and facilitators for a better tomorrow. A future featuring citizen statesmen in our offices in government, proudly leading us to a brighter tomorrow. Write into the show at freeequalfair@gmail.com. Comments, questions, want to learn more, want to talk to us, tell us why you think we're wrong, please write in. We're happy to.
All comments. If you have any suggestions or...
And if you want to join us, of course, just write in freeequalfair@gmail.com, and we will get you linked up with how you can help move the whole of humanity, really. But we're focused here in the U.S., but the whole of humanity forward to a place we've never been before, a far better place. Our next show is going to rock your world. It's called Yes, You Have an Opinion, But...
Come join us for the next show, won't you?
Please do. Please do.
Michael?
Thank you, David.
Nice job.